Hi everyone. So I've been on a negative painting binge, which looks like this. This is what I did over the last 2 or 3 days. And I'd like to share it with you because it was a lot of fun. I did it in this giant book that I bought at Goodwill for 92 cents. And I had fun, and I thought maybe you'd like to join me. So if you would, this is my painting table. This is my art. This is the day. See ya. I'm in my big, giant Reader's Digest map book. And this is a page that I did back in December of 2025 when I was playing around with how Charlotte Winsley works on her stuff. And I've got some really pretty blue stuff in here, but I went wacko with some acrylic paint, which I don't love. So what I like to do is I like to cover up some of these painted areas with this group of blue papers that I pulled just, from scraps. I just like to cover them up. Yours truly. Oh, me twice. Oh, Neil, me. Okay. I like to cover them up. Anyways, I'm going to cover these up. And eventually, I'm going to get into another negative paint collage. Is it a collage? A negative painting thing. Why am I telling you? Why am I telling you what I'm going to do? How about if I just do it? Yeah, let's just start with these. Okay. So I would like to, and I feel like I'm going to end up being fussy about some of these shapes, but I shouldn't be because it's going to be cut up. It's going to be cut up. So let's just do this. This is Liquitex Matte Gel Medium, which comes in a giant pot. Comes in a giant pot that looks like this, which I have listed on my Amazon store. And I just put it in this small container, which, by the way, if you don't use it fast enough, it turns into a rock. So I spray it with water every once in a while. And I just want you to know there's a fly in my studio right now that's as big as a bird. And it's eventually going to land, or I'm going to breathe it in, or some damn thing. So I'm just going to roughly cover up some of this pink stuff, because I don't know if you've ever watched negative painting before. It disappears under paint. Everything's falling on the floor. Oh, it's a huge fly. And it must have had children while it was in my house because they're all over my house. So I was just looking at my comments on my channel. I'm gonna get my favorite tool, Princeton Catalyst Wedge, which is also, everybody always asks, I'm not trying to sell stuff because Amazon definitely does not pay you for selling stuff. It is on my store. It's a favorite tool for covering all manner of things with either paint or glue. I just like it for getting the big blobs off. See, already that's making me happy, just getting rid of the, I guess I'm not a big fan of these colors. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how these pieces of paper go on here. I'm in New Hampshire. We are having a heat wave. We're so funny in this state. We're so used to having, we get winter weather. While you guys are, I don't know where you are in the world, but, some people are getting cold, some people are getting hot. We get snow, and we get a lot of it. This past year that just went by, oh man, it was brutal. It was brutal, and look, well, that's a big fly, guys. And at the time that we were having all that snow, feet and feet of it, I was the president of my co-op, and we were having broken pipes underground. It was awesome. It was awesome. Can't even tell you how much fun it was. So you can't dig things up when there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. So these papers, these are all digital papers that I've made over the course of decades, which I have recently unearthed and categorized and put with friends, and now they're happily on my website as digital downloads. Not all of them. Some of these I probably was experimenting with. I can't promise you that the papers that I'm working with right now are there, but there's a lot of them there. So the plan is to cover this up. Okay, I may have to go on a killing spree. Plan is to cover up these warm colors, and let's just do that. Cover up these warm colors. Probably put it out in the blazing sun to dry for a while. And then I'm going to do another negative painting, which is a thing that I've really gotten into. But instead of doing organic shapes, someone in my comments said, Francis, he's a French artist, and it looks like he does stuff like negative painting, but does it with collage, and it's like Kuwait or something like that. I don't have a good pronunciation. But I went quickly and looked at his stuff, and he had a big, his Instagram page was up, and there was just a big star-shaped thing that looked like negative painting on collage, or collage chopped into fun shapes. And it inspired me to come on in here. So my last several videos have been negative painting. If you're new to my channel, you will probably see those early pieces. I did a lot of collage, a lot of inspired by videos. And lately, I've been doing a lot of negative painting, which I have really been enjoying. All right, that page is lots of cool colors, which makes me happy. Let's get all this glue out of here. And let's come on over here and see what we can do to this page. All of this is going to get covered up. Doesn't matter what I put there, but it is fun to work with papers that are pretty. So negative painting is, the idea behind negative painting is to put down a background, and I've seen people paint and collage and do all manner of different things. I would really like to acrylic paint, but I don't know how to use my paints well enough, and I'm not courageous enough to do that on camera yet, but eventually I will. Sure, let's just cover that like that. So you paint away, paint what you want to hide, and what is revealed is what's underneath. Once I get through this, I'll flip back and show you something that I've done recently that has that kind of stuff. So these videos with negative painting, they have a tendency to be long, because when I start out, or when I've started out with my last several videos, I did not have any idea that I was going to negative paint on them, because it was kind of a newish thing for me. So I just kept on adding layers and paint and texture and scribbles and alphabets and you name it, I added it. So today is the first time I'm starting a project knowing that I want to negative paint it, which is going to help me not take so long to cover things up. This was actually done on watercolor paper with Tim Holtz Distressed Oxide Sprays, which, if you don't know what those are, can I find one? They are these. I don't know if I have them on my Amazon page, but I'm going to leave that there so I can remind myself to put it on. Distressed oxide sprays love to be layered. They color each other. They have a tendency to blend with one another. So this was done with, I don't even remember, but I remember having the time of my life while I was making it. And all of what I'm working with right now are photocopies. Photocopies because I suspect that somebody that's watching this will understand what I say. When you make something that's so pretty on either your gel plate or through collage or something like that, and you cannot make yourself use it because it is too beautiful to ruin. Hold on, sorry if my head was in the way. Let's take that. So I started photocopying some of my work, especially my gel prints, because, you know, gel prints are a total crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get until you peel that paper back, and sometimes it is quite remarkable and quite delightful. So I started making photocopies of everything, and now I'm not afraid to use it because it's just a copy and the original is safely tucked away. So even without my being careful about what I'm doing here, I'm ending up with some very pretty patterns that will reveal themselves when something is painted out, which is very fun. That's got to go. Sure. This is my boy. That's my little boy, Neil, who was not a little boy when he left, but he'll always be one in my mind. He left 14 years ago, crashed his motorcycle. I never saw him after that. Changed my life. This is him too. Changed everything about my life. Some in good ways and some in not so good. Good ways in the sense that he made me, losing him made me gentler. I became a more gentle version of my mostly angry self. I became kinder and more forgiving and more compassionate. And our world definitely needs more of that. This is a distraction for me. Here, baby, you come here. And let's just cover. Let's see what we can do with you. See, yes, that makes me happy. There you go, baby. Any of you people out there that are watching this, if you are what I call an angel parent, an angel mom, angel dad, creating art around your child is healing. Very healing. I use this just squirt bottle to get that wet inside before I put it away because it has a tendency to dry up. I don't use it often enough. Okay. This is what's going to happen next. This is going out in the sun to dry. And once it is dry, I'll be back. Okay, this is dry from the sun and ready for the next thing. This is a very large area. Very large area of solid color, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so let me get, this is house paint. This is Bear from Home Depot, Ultra Pure White. It is acrylic as opposed to latex. There are a handful of companies that actually make acrylic paint, so I have been using this to block things out. And I think what I'd like to do with this is perhaps play around with some, ooh. All right, hold on. Just something came to mind. Hold on. I'm getting the idea to fill in some of these blank things with some stamps. Ooh, I'm excited. Hold on. I just grabbed the top 2 trays of stamps from my pile. It's a video thing. Okay. Let me do that. Let me do... That doesn't look like much, but it makes a very cool pattern. Let's start with that. Watch. This is, and I don't know how dry my ink is or any of that kind of stuff, and I don't even know if the alcohol inks are going to what's the word, smear this, but we'll find out. So let me just try something. Well, that's a fun little thing. Let me show you what this one does. This doesn't look like much, so I lay that there, and I like to use, this is just a coaster, but I like to use it to press the stamp down and get a good solid stamp. Let's just drop that right here. This makes it so that I don't have to work my hands so much. Well, that's a fun little thing. Just see what happens here. If you're going to work with rubber stamps, you do have to be very careful about how hard you press down so that you get a firm impression. See that open area here? That's because I did not push my fingers into the middle area. Well, I did not think to use my stamps before, but this is clever. Look at that fun thing that adds. All right, let's try this. Oh yeah, these stamps. I forgot. I have so many tools from my olden days. So when I was a pottery designer, when I owned the company Museware Pottery, I used this rubber material, which is from Speedball. That's fun, to carve stamps that I used on my pottery. Let's see. This is actually a favorite. I don't know what I was thinking when I carved it. So this makes it possible for you to do that without getting all the ink on your hands. Let's try this. Is my head in there? Look at it. Oh, see the hole? That's from not pressing entirely. So let's see if we can do that next time without doing that. Too much. Too hard of a press. Not hard enough. But still, kind of fun. I'll put that there. How about another little, get this on here so you can see what I'm doing. Very cute. Okay, I don't want to overdo it because overdoing it is, it's what I do. That's going to be good enough for now. Okay, now I got to let that dry a few more minutes because I'm going to overpaint on top of this. Okay, I'm back. I let this dry for a little while, and then I came in here off camera because I wanted to be able to see, and I started coloring in these black lines that I had drawn when I first started this, because this started out to be sort of like a neurographic Charlotte Wensley kind of thing, until I realized that I could not fill in these spaces. So I've been using this gold pen, and I've been kind of coloring in these black lines, which adds a, the gold is pretty. I put a couple of dots here, a couple of dots there. This almost looks like, I don't know what that's called in Chinese or Japanese art, when they use gold to fix something to, it's got a name. But so I've got these little tiny thin gold lines. that are in here, covering up the black. So I think what's going to happen next is possibly some negative painting, but I'm wondering, I've got a couple of areas that are quite large in terms of, let me get this where you can, hold on guys, get it where you can see what I'm doing. Some of these quite large areas that are plain that I thought I wanted to fill up with stamps, but I have a tendency to overdo pretty much everything I do. More is more. I've always wanted to be a minimalist, and I am a little bit that in my home, but I am not that in my art. Okay, this dark thing, I'm just while I'm just sitting here contemplating. I don't know that the gold shows up nearly as well on camera as it does with eyes. I used to use tons of this gold when I was doing my early collages. Actually, before I started doing on camera, I would do quite a bit of gold, but it was disappointing on camera, so I kind of stopped. But I do have packages of these gold pens. Somebody asked me one time, I think all of my pens are written in Japanese. Now, this one's written in English. No, it's written, I think the tip is called broad, and I like it because it shows up on the pieces I'm working on. Okay, so I've got a couple of areas where, looking for something to do, I could add some areas in here. Okay, so I start getting self-conscious when I get ready to go on to the next step. So I need to I need to calm myself down. BRB. I can't do it yet. I'm going to kill some time. I'm going to kill time and just draw little circles around these little dots that I put on here. I know that most of this is going to get covered up, so this would be another instance where somebody said, why do you do all that work only to cover it up? And the truth of the matter is, I'm stalling, guys. I don't know where I want to go with this. And I've gotten a little bit precious about this background, which I think is very pretty. And what I may end up doing before I start covering it up with white paint, because I never remember to do this, is take some pictures of it. Hey everyone, it's a brand new day. It's actually the next day. And I looked at this thing so many times yesterday because I think it's lovely. And off camera, I did just a little bit of detail work. I used 3 different colors here. I used white Uniball Signo. It says UM153 on the handle. Black, white, and a little bit of gold. Gold doesn't really show up that much, or at least you can't see it on camera that well. But the white is pretty, and the white does have a tendency to pick up some of the color underneath. So I just detailed a little bit around here. And what I found out, I was getting ready to negative paint on this, but this is what I found out. I love this too much to cover it up. So fear not, because I've got a plan. Hold on. I'll show you what my plan is. Photocopies. I took a picture of this because it's too big for me to scan. I took a picture of it, brought it into Photoshop, I chopped it up. And what I'm going to do today is am I going to put it right on this page? Oh, actually, let's go a few pages forward. Hold on. Everything's all glued together. Yeah, my pages are sticking together. Okay, we're going right here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to trim off these First of all, I got to remember how it goes. Rounds on the bottom. All right, this goes here. And here and here. So I'm going to trim off all of these things off camera. I'm going to glue these down and I'm going to negative paint over these because I have learned that I get all attached to things. My printer is losing its ink. I get all attached to things and I'm afraid to use them. So I'm going to do that off camera. I'll be back. Look at how pretty these are. I love this spread. Yes, I'm very happy about, I'm using a ton of ink, but I don't care because these are pretty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear them into just a couple of easy strips and glue them down. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut them a little bit more. Goes like that. And it goes like this. Just cut these a little bit. It'll be easier to put into strips. I won't have to deal with a white line, that the white line is even going to matter, because if you've watched me negative paint, you realize that 80% is covered up. I have an opinion about cutters. I want to show you something while I have these out. So this is a Carl professional rotary trimmer. I also own one of these in different sizes. Maybe they're for a different kind of cutting, but I find this one much harder to work with my limited vision. So this is the one, this is my favorite one, and this is my second favorite one. Okay, this is going away. I am going to pull out my Liquitex. I'll show you guys. I think I already did, but I'm going to show it again. Liquitex Matte Gel Medium, which comes in this big giant jug. I'm actually going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'll tell you what happens is this does dry out if you leave it in there long enough. And sometimes, you know, sometimes I'm prolific and I'm creating art all the time. Yeah, and sometimes I am avoiding creating art all the time. So I like to keep this thing pretty full so it doesn't develop a skin over it. But I don't know why this one dries out so much faster than this one, because this one really doesn't. So I have made an effort over the past couple of weeks to make sure that most of my supplies are in my Amazon store. I've been adding recent supplies to a list that says something like YouTube, stuff used on YouTube or whatever. So, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So I'm just going to start gluing this guy down. And I'm going to go through it because you've already watched me glue a million things. You don't need to watch me glue more, but I'm just going to get these down. I like the thicker glue for photocopied paper. I'm using 20-pound. People ask regularly, what do I use? I'm using 20-pound copy paper, which is cheap. I don't buy expensive copy paper. If you're buying my pardon me, if you're buying my papers and you are trying to, I don't know, get the best quality color that you can get out of your printer, my understanding is that some of the thicker papers, like 24-pound, you can get some really nice results out of it. But I can't be bothered because I'm making art and I'm paying for all my supplies myself. And I'm making a lot of art. So I go economy. Princeton Catalyst Wedge, if I haven't said it before, because it's one of my favorite tools. Oh, this is going down. Look how nice this is going down. Yeah, Princeton Catalyst Wedge. I use it on my gel plate, but I especially like to use it for gluing. Okay, so frickin' pretty. These are going to end up as printables as well because these are just way too pretty to hide in a folder. I'm not doing it. I'm gonna I'm going to share them with you guys, and you can make art with them too. So this morning, I got up. I have a new coffee maker. I usually use a French press. It's a whole ritual that I go through with coffee. And I bought myself one of those single cup Keurig things. And I was having so much fun drinking many cups of coffee that I completely forgot that I had a haircut appointment this morning. So I literally threw on a little dress, you know, one of those little cute Walmart dresses that cost nothing. And I hadn't even brushed my teeth or washed my face. This is like, I don't know what's happening to me, guys. I used to be this perfectionist. If I didn't look like $1 million, I wouldn't even think of leaving the house. And I went out this morning. I had a mohawk for hair. It was awesome. But my friend Chris has been cutting my hair for 14 years. She lost her son, Corey, just before I lost my son, Neil. And we have become friends. So I get to see her once a month. And I walked in there and I said, I apologize. I apologize for my appearance. I even have an ice cream stand ice cream stain on my dress because I went out and got ice cream with my neighbor and friend Peter, who's also our treasurer, and he's freaking awesome. So we went out and got ice cream yesterday, and I was dripping it like a little kid down the front of myself. Look at how pretty this is. So I went out with no makeup, no... I can't even believe I went out like that, but whatever. And here I am. So you guys have me. I did wash my face and brush my teeth before coming on camera. I just want you to be impressed. Okay. So this is going to have to go out in the sun and hang out for a little while. Let me get a little bit more paint. A little more glue down here. All right, so I'm going to take this out once I get this last piece glued down. Take it out, put it in the sun for a little while. Park them in the sun. I've got the air conditioning running already because it is going to be soupy. Well, that didn't take very long at all. It's baking out there. Okay. This is so delicious. These are so freaking pretty. I can't even stand it. Let me show you something. What if I take this idea, which was inspired by Helen Wells, and put this tree up the middle, and maybe put a house here and, I don't know, some growing things here. I'm sure you guys can't see that. Well, no, I'm not. Okay, here's my tree. I gotta get my head in, guys. Hold on. Okay, so there's a tree. I'll just leave that like that for a while. This could be, let's get literal. I'm going to get literal, guys, okay? This is going to be my landscape. This is going to be, maybe I don't do that. I'm going to, here, just stay with me for a couple minutes, guys. I'm just going to draw some shapes in here. I don't want it to be too symmetrical because that's boring. Okay, this is white. All right, I'm just going to do that. My palette, my Home Depot Paint Bear Ultra Pure White, pointy, square, possibly angled. Let's see. Just going to start. I'm going to start where I know that I want to paint something out. Someone suggested that I use a very broad tip marker to lay out the lines. And I don't know why I'm afraid to do it, but I am. Because I don't know if I want the lines to show. I really don't have to worry so much about that because I'm going to be putting several layers of white on. So I think I'll be quiet for this phase of the painting because I'm not quite sure how to execute this. I remember when I was laying in bed the other night, I had the idea that I would try to paint these shapes out without drawing them. It's hard enough to do the shapes with them drawn, at least this far away. Okay, that's hard to see. I don't want this all to be white, so how do I do this? Try that. Yeah, okay. Just going to do it. I'm nervous about this direction because I'm trying to make something look like something, which has always been kind of a, I'm intimidated because I'm not that kind of artist. I'm I'm probably pretty good at pulling together shapes and stuff like that, but I'm not the kind of artist that knows how to make a tree look like a real tree, but I'm also not inspired to try it either. Okay, so I don't like what's happening there, but you know what? I bet I could fix it with magic markers. Let's paint out this trunk, which is a shame because there's some pretty stuff under there. Okay, so there's a tree. Pretty literal. What's going to happen here? Are these going to be like, maybe this is not going to be a house. Maybe this is going to be, maybe there's going to be flowers growing up from here. I have a particular type of flower that I enjoy to paint. Am I getting stuff on my dress? Next. These are like alien flowers. Okay, I'm going around these. Am I going around those as well? Wait a minute, before I get all painty. I just don't want to leave that. What if I wanted to leave? I want this to show. What if I put paint around here? What if I do this? Let's find out, guys. I'm going to have black lines to deal with, but there's always paint to deal with those. These are alien flowers, guys. I've got a pack of papers out there called something like Keep Shining. And these are the flowers that I put on that. What I want this to be flower. I want that to be paint. Okay, hold on. That's not going to work. No, I'm going to keep the flowers. I don't think I can do the paint. Not the way I want. I need something small. Let's try this little brush. See this black line? Maybe once I paint around it a couple of times, I will have removed it because I don't love it, which is why I was afraid of the chisel brush that someone recommended. I wasn't sure I was going to enjoy that black line. Although when I was doing my teapots with Helen Wells, I did. Boy, I am definitely learning how to drive a paintbrush around corners. Not very well, but I'm getting there. They're cute. They're definitely wonky. I'm getting confused about white tree trunk and flowers. So I think I need to... I don't know if you guys can follow this because I'm having a very hard time. When I was just doing overall flowers, that wasn't hard. This is hard. Not sure what to do with this. I'm going to... I am so annoyed with myself. I just recorded all of this without the camera on. It timed out. But I've got some flowers here. I've got some flowers there. I've got some trees here. I'm going to put this out in the sun and let it dry. And then I'm going to come back and layer it. And this feels like it's going to end up having some pen work done on it, which might make it a little bit more fun to watch. So I'll be back. Hello again. It's a brand new day. Okay, so I have off camera because I forgot to turn the camera on. Guys, don't go old. It's a trap. Oh, wait a minute. You guys are all old. I can see my analytics. We're all in the same boat together. Okay, so I ended up off camera, and I did this on purpose, painting the second layer of white on this because I didn't want you to have to sit through watching me paint white again. But what I want to do now is take this group of markers. Let me dig them out. These are my Oh Hoo Hoo markers, which I have listed in my Amazon store. And I am going to use them. I want to darken up some of these areas, give them a little bit of definition. I don't love what I did here, but whatever. I think this is actually fun. Maybe I want to do some pen work on this. So let's, I'm going to go quiet. Well, yeah, you know how that goes. If you've been around for a while, you know my quiet is not always quiet. Anyways, what I want to do is just add a little bit of color to some of these elements. Darken them up. Fill in not all the white because, you know, the white is nice little contrast. But just add some color. We'll see. The last thing that I want to do, and I'll stop talking because I cannot zoom through this if I'm talking my head off. The last thing I want to do is add some detail around these silly little flower shapes, which is what I tried to do when I was drawing these lines around them that you can barely see. I was trying to do that, but it did not. I was getting confused about my positive and negative space. That's enough magic marker for now. When I can get closer to the paper, I might add some defining lines to make this white a little less raggedy. But what I'd like to do now is just play around with a little bit of, I believe, black. Get those out of my way. I've got 4 pens here. I don't know why I keep silver because I never use it. But I've got black, white, and gold. These are all Signo Uniball UM153, which I believe is a broad tip. The gold I've used, which is pretty, but it's very, you don't see it. I don't think that you guys can see it nearly as well as I can. So I think what I'd like to do is just play around with some black. Okay, let's see how this goes. This will be quiet so I can speed. And just so you know, on this, I have to go very slow. Do you see how this is skipping? That's telling me that it might be time for a new pen. Let's find back with this Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen, black 199, size medium. I'm going to paint that out. Not on camera though. Sorry for the sound. Okay, I painted this out and you can see it smeared. So maybe once it dries, I can do something more with it. But what I want to try to do, which is going to be a challenge, I'd like to write some words inside of this. I'm just going to try writing some words. Look at how stinking cute that is. And I'm just repeating the same stuff. This one says, keep shining beautiful. You are the light of the world. You are loved by all. You are loved. You are loved. You are a powerful creator. You are loved. The kinds of words that we all need to hear. Let me just see if this is ready for me to repair. I'm hoping I can edit this so it's not hard to watch, but I just want to finish, want to write more words. So if you don't mind sticking with me, we're almost done. This one says, "Our children change us, whether they live or not." I don't know who to attribute that to, but it is a true story. Okay, I'm going to just take this white pen for a couple of minutes and allow that to dry and do a little bit of detailing around Neil's face. Neil is my baby boy, my forever, gotta get this to right again, my forever 19 baby boy, who I think about every day, many times a day. He was my greatest teacher. He was 19 years old when he left the house on August 20th and rode off on his motorcycle, never to be seen again. I found out he was gone because the police knocked on my door. And since my son had a terrible driving record and was determined to end up in jail because of it, or losing his license so I could cart his ass around, when the police came to the door, I was pretty annoyed, pretty pissed. Okay, let's do a little detailing on this little thing right here. And I was pretty pissed. And they told me there had been an accident. And I said, with great annoyance, "Well, is he okay?" To which they said, "No, he's not. He died." I've told this story several times on this channel. Probably will tell it several more times. This pen has reached the end of its useful life. This one, however, has not. It's brand new out of the package. Let's see how it dries. Like butter. Don't be like me, guys. Don't wait until your pen tortures you before you finally throw it away. Yes. So my boy Neil. If he were here, he would be 33 years old on May 4th. This past May 4th. He'll be gone 14 years on August 20th. And I know, because my first video on this channel was about losing my son. But I didn't think it was going to be about losing my son. All I wanted to do was just sit down and record a video so that I could start a YouTube channel and start a regular art practice. And I followed the advice of a woman named Brooke Sears, who said, just sit down in front of the camera, in front of a window, using your phone, and start talking. And I did. And I ended up talking about my child. Because of the things that have happened in my life, his coming and his going was by far the most substantial thing. I will never forget him. He was a beautiful Oh my God, he was a 6'5" pain in my ass. I am going to do something that I hope I don't regret. This is one of my favorite pens. It's a Precise V5. What's the brand? Pilot. I pretty much don't write with any other pen, but I'm going to try writing with this and see what happens. So far, it likes writing on acrylic. It's very skinny and requires several passes. So I'm going to go back to this. Now this medium point on this is better for writing and not having it take twice as long. Okay, we're winding down. I wonder if I can talk and say goodbye at the same time. This is going to remain unfinished. I'll do it off camera because it's still wet. But I'm ready to end this video. Not go out in the sun because it's 90, almost 95 degrees today. It's supposed to be 98. And this won't fit on it, but it says, "You." I love you, Neil Michael. You were my best teacher. And you know what? You, whoever you are out there watching me do this, you are so loved as well. Sometimes we don't get loved perfectly by our families. Some of us received no love at all from our families, and some of us received hard love that destroyed and damaged us beyond our ability to recover. I was blessed. My dad loved me hard. He was pretty tough on me. But you know what? It didn't mean he didn't love me. He just loved me his way. Everybody's got a good, either a good or damaging way of showing love. I was just going to say something that I don't believe. I was just going to say we don't get to pick our parents. I actually think we do. But you know, yeah, even that sort of a thought. I don't know anything. I think I know stuff. I don't know things. I'm a middle-aged woman. That's not going to do anything. I'm a middle-aged woman who's lived a pretty hard life. And parts of it have been unspeakably beautiful. The day they handed that child to me, it was like nothing I've ever experienced before or since. Extraordinary. And some of you who have experienced it know what I'm talking about. Some of you may never know that kind of love. We all come in with different plans. We come in for different reasons. We come in with different missions. My mission, I don't know what it is, but today my mission was to create this piece of art using, can I find it? Hold on. Everything's stuck together, guys. Using photocopies of this piece of art, which still makes me quite happy, and negative painting. And I hope you enjoyed watching me do it. I'll finish this. I don't know what it's going to say yet. So my name is Cherie Burlington. I'm an artist, an errant, an angel mom. This is my son Neil. You guys have had a, geez, I'm all touched. You've had a profound effect on my life. Being able to share my art with an appreciative audience and reading your beautiful comments, because I have to tell you, some of you are so kind. I've only had a couple of difficult messages. And the whole time I've had my channel, not everybody's going to love me. You've been awesome. Please leave a comment. Please visit my website and take a look at the art that I offer on products, because it helps me pay for the art supplies so I can keep doing this. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.